Nope, okay, you go ahead.
Maybe with any luck, I'll spur some discussion. Most of you are in operation shops. How many of you use simulation tools in your organizations? Okay, there's a few hands. If you were to start doing this in your organization and the construction guys walked over to your part of the building and said, I'd like you to do this, what kind of an earthquake would that cause in the organization? Would that be a natural flow or not? I see some shaking heads. So it seems that for various reasons, 10 years ago I worked on the plan for renewal before this program even started. And we thought this was a really significant project because the idea was to reduce user delay, and so you got to do some strategic thinking about how you lay out your work zones. But that requires using some simulation tools, which aren't really all that ubiquitous, and they aren't necessarily used in construction shops. So it seems that there may be some big changes within organizations if we migrate to doing business that way. Now, that's sort of my opinion or my observation. Does that seem like the case, or would this be a no-brainer?
It seems that one of the issues with these predictive tools is you get sometimes predictable results, particularly with some of the early models. I mean, some of them would show huge backups that we didn't think would happen, and they didn't. And then when you find something that works pretty good, you start getting rules of thumb developed. And so then you say, well, do I need to do this on every single model? I mean, I think as the technology gets better, and it looks like we're on our way here, that particularly when you're trying to do a program of projects, it can be real beneficial. But for a lot of individual projects, I think a lot of staff has a good feel for what does a routine project do routinely to traffic, as opposed to I've got a big nasty project, I need a pretty good detailed analysis on what's going on with traffic. And those are the hard ones that, based on what you put in, it's going to have a huge impact on what you get out of it.
Yeah, you're right. The tools that are on the easier side to use, they don't take so much time that they're too onerous, except to do for the really large projects, sometimes don't give as accurate of results, and it kind of gets to be a little bit fine, the middle of the road. And I think, in the case with this tool, it's intended to kind of give a kind of a big picture, but yeah, I wouldn't say this would be a tool to use for this is how long of a delay we're going to have in this particular project, but relatively speaking, which one is optimal, or which couple or sets of them are similar to help you get there. But I guess one other kind of comment is, of course, tools like this and any kind of tool don't necessarily consider the political constraints too that go into how projects are programmed and how they're sequenced and all that. So obviously, it's a tool, but it's not going to solve everything, that's for sure. Other comments or questions?
Well, just a comment about what you just said. Part of the situation we're running with our agency is that we have, in Florida, started going more design build, and that adds another set of circumstances that you're not aware of. But we have a corridor where we decided to break it up, and it wasn't because of logical segments, it's because of the size of the design build contracts that they wanted to have out on the street. So you have to deal with those issues. But I can see where this tool will be beneficial, at least to looking at some of the work zone strategies when you have subsequent projects. Did have a question about your I-4 pilot testing. What was sort of the outcome of some of those results? Just curious, because I am a Florida guy.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest with you, I can't speak to the details because I didn't directly work on that. I can give you there's a copy of a report that came from that if you're interested, or I can follow up with you on, a few of the highlights, but I don't have the specifics. It was more of a overall, these are what came out of the pilot tests. So I unfortunately, I can't tell you exactly on the, I have 4. I guess I thought we only had a couple minutes left, but I had a few. These are just a few of the website resources on here. But I did want to mention, since these are all projects we're just talking about that are moving toward implementation, but they haven't, gotten there yet, unlike the ones in the morning, just to talk a little bit about implementation efforts, kind of what are we looking at going forward with Sharp 2. There's a good number of high priority products that will be coming out in the next little while here, not just in the reliability area. That number's for all the renewal and the capacity area and the safety area to some degree. It's a little bit different how that area was done, the safety area. But users, would be across the spectrum in the transportation industry. And the idea is to try and take select products and really integrate them into regular practices, or kind of worded another way. Try and get some kind of routine use of Sharp 2 products so that years down the road it wasn't a Sharp 2 product, it's just how we do something now, and it's helpful to us. So state DOTs, MPOs, resource agencies, maybe other stakeholders might get use or benefit from some of these products. And essentially what we're trying to do with our implementation efforts, the technical assistance, the financial assistance, is to take some of those high priority products and get them to the tipping point. Sometimes they're a new way of doing stuff, and I know in my time at Federal Highway, one of the most common questions I get is, what are other states doing? I want to know if somebody else is doing it first, or a few other somebody else's are doing it before I go there. The risk-averse nature in engineering. So these are a couple of the kind of aspects of the, when we go to implement products. Some of it's implementation assistance program, which I'll just say a little bit more on the next slide. Some of it's hearing from the pilots, from the lead adopters, kind of how it worked for them, and sharing that information through like peer exchange or through reports or webinars as well. Different outreach and marketing methods. Some people are going to be champions. They're going to be willing to provide some leadership on the national level for that. The knowledge transfer system we mentioned as a way of sharing some of this information, helping get these products into the hands of more folks and interest and awareness of them. And then some technical support from Federal Highway as well in these various products. So just to mention, so you're aware of the Implementation Assistance Program, there's 3 levels of assistance, and it touches on the financial area and the technical area. There's an application process when these products come out through the Implementation Assistance Program. Basically, different agencies can, MPOs, states, et cetera, resource agencies can apply to get an award through the program. We've had 3 rounds of them to date, and the round 4 is coming up, and the tools Steve was talking about are going to be part of round 4. So there's 3 levels of support that can come out of that, and basically I won't go into the details of these, but they have different levels of financial assistance with them, and because the products are at different points. Like if we have a product where we're not really quite sure if it's ready, but we're hopeful about it, but we're not totally sure. We might do a proof of concept pilot to kind of get a few more users to try it so that we have a bigger experience base to then say, oh yes, we're confident this product should be used, widespread. We'd like to see it used widespread. Let's move it further forward. If we're kind of past that point, then we might do a lead adopter, where there hasn't been a lot of use yet, so we need some champions, and they'll need a little bit more financial support then to kind of incentivize that. And then the user incentive is usually when there's been some early adoption already, so it's a little lower level of financial assistance. So just to give you an idea, the number of the involvement, the participation in this program for Sharp 2 implementation across all the focus areas, that gives you an idea. There were 6 products that were rolled out in the first round, and we had 34 states and the District of Columbia participate from that. And there's 108 projects that has involved implementing one or more of the products on. The second round, it was different products offered in different rounds. The second round, we had 18 states get some kind of award through the program in there. And there are 4 products that were rolled out there. And The first round was when the capability and maturity model was part of that John spoke about this morning. And then for the upcoming rounds, or actually one that's getting evaluated now is round 3. Announcements awards for round 3 is anticipated late March, and we do have a joint capacity reliability effort there, and that's on freight demand modeling and data improvement. That was done in C20 project there. So those applications already been submitted and the application period closed, so we'll have awards for that soon. And then the round 4 is the one I mentioned coming up here in June that will have the tools that Steve was talking about. So there'll be an opportunity if your agency or an agency you work with might be interested in trying out one or more of those products. We don't know exactly what the assistance will look like yet. We're still going to be having a discussion next week to have a workshop to kind of help formulate what that should look like. So I'll end it with that, but if you have any questions on the implementation assistance program or the implementation effort, I'd be glad to talk with you afterward here if you want to come up and have a conversation. Or we could talk more in the session this afternoon. That'll be at 4 o'clock back here, and there'll be, like I said, opportunity for discussion on the products, on how they're being rolled out, on the assistance program, or on any area of transportation systems management and operations that we might want to talk about. All right, thank you, everyone.